Back in the early aughts, right here in Dallas, I was 17, student body president and one of only 42 young men in the senior class of a small Catholic school. It was a slow Tuesday in late October. Our football team was earning its reputation as the preferred opponent for homecoming games. College applications were still lingering in admissions offices, and our study of Dante's Inferno in Father Greg's English class had sadly moved on from the lusty, tantalizing details of the second circle of hell. Senior year was stuck in first gear, and my friends and I were getting restless. That Tuesday during final period, something unexpected happened. A proposal from a friend whose parents were out of town was put to the members of the recycling club, of which my friends and I belonged. Like the club itself, this proposal was not about recycling. It was about partying that night, sneaking out of homes, and if you were lucky, sneaking back in. It was an invitation to those willing to risk a semester of house arrest for the thrill of partying on a school night. Here's how it would work. The booze always came from two sources. If it was from a family's liquor cabinet, it was the hard shit. Hard to get, hard to drink, with the hardcore names to back it up. Beefeater, Wild Turkey, and the one nobody was quite sure how to pronounce, Uzo? No matter. Our answer was Sunkist, the great equalizer. Able to tame the fieriest spirits with its sweet corn syrup. But for convenience and options, you had to buy booze from a store, and that had its own challenges. Unless you knew about the tanning salon way out on Jupiter Road that also sold novelty ID cards. I did. So occasionally, I was a 22-year-old from Tennessee. And that night, friends would be counting on me to deliver the goods and spare them from having to drink a Sunkist in gin. I could sneak out by 10, be back by 2, and feel like my senior year was finally getting edgy. Okay, maybe not Dazed and Confused or Fast Times at Richmond High edgy, but it was something, and I was all in. Now, if my home was ever a no need to lock the front door kind of home, by the time my older sister finished high school, it was closer to a Park City Supermax. My parents were methodical about setting the alarm every night, complicating my escape. The reliable staying at friends excuse would never survive school night scrutiny. But if I had to do something extreme, oh, wait, there's a window right here in my room. I sleep with it open all the time, so it must be off the grid. Done. All I have to do is get through the screen. I swiped a box cutter from the arts and crafts drawer and waited anxiously in my room. The sky outside darkened with ominous clouds, a perfect backdrop to the dilemma I privately wrestled with. Will I be able to handle this secret access to the wide world without any major consequence? Will drinking on a school night affect my grades? I put my shoes on and squared up to the window. The storm had become wild, erratic bolts of lightning streaking across the sky with near instant crashes of thunder. But my plan for the screen was elegant and simple. 2 parallel vertical cuts with a single horizontal cut connecting them at the bottom. Yes, it was a doggy door, but one that would be so precise and so clean that it would go unnoticed. The first cut down, 24 inches. Keep it straight. A few snags, but I could already feel some small drops of rain blowing in through the new seam. Next, across 12 inches. Keep it perfectly level. Oh, shit. What happened? All of a sudden, the whole house was screaming like a baby. The type of siren that starts in a low baritone and quickly climbs the scale to an ear-piercing laser note before pausing only a half second just to repeat. Incredibly, of all the scenarios and outcomes I had considered for the evening, this wasn't included. Pretty quickly, I heard the floorboards in the ceiling stress under the weight of adult feet. A reckoning was coming. The party, at least for me, was over before it started. To defer any initial suspicions, I took off my shoes and hid the box cutter under the bed. From the bottom of the stairs, I yelled up an answer to a question nobody had asked. "Don't worry, I'm all right." Seconds later, at the top of the stairs, my dad came into view, in only socks, a pair of gray jockeys, carrying in his right hand the largest silver six-shooter I had ever seen. He slowly descended, like some dirty Harry in his underwear. Hoping to de-escalate things, I suggested at least turning the alarm off at this point. No, not yet. The robbers may still be out there, my mom replied as she searched through a file cabinet for the document which would indicate which room was B2, where the breach had occurred. In no time, the phone rang. I heard my mother answer, "You mean the police aren't already coming? We've had a break-in. Please send them immediately." It was raining heavily now, with frequent booms of thunder vibrating the windows. The dark houses of our neighbors were lighting up, curious about the siren. Needing some room to think a way out of this, I bravely said, "I'll check the backyard." As I gave some bushes a half-ass poke with a baseball bat, I slowly built myself up to go back in and end this madness. But before I could, the sides of my neighbors' houses lit up with the red and blue of the police, and I was in too deep. So I rejoined my parents in the living room, now with the officer. Dad had lost the hand blaster and put some pants on, and we brought the cop up to speed. It was a slashed window screen in my room. I claimed I was up at the time, the lights were on. I was brushing my teeth in the bathroom. The alarm must have done its job. After a brief inspection of the crime scene, the officer said, "I can't recall many cases in which the intruder chose the only room with the lights on as the point of entry." Yes, exactly, officer. But criminals are known to be brazen and reckless. Staring me down, the officer continued, "In the clean, straight lines here, intruders wouldn't typically take the time or care to make such a cut." And the final observation from the cop was to read the bold printed text off a 6x6-inch reflective decal that had been glued to the exterior of this very window. "This home is protected by Brink's Home Security." I offered no confession. And what I imagined was some creative way for this officer to get us to a resolution we could all feel good about. He said, "You know, I saw the most interesting documentary last night on the Weather Channel, exploring the phenomenon of ball lightning. You see, with ball lightning, the electrical force contains itself in this kind of orb that floats through the air until it hits something, and boom! We've had several reports tonight having to do with lightning. None of them mention balls of it, but you never know." Confused but desperate, I enthusiastically endorsed this science-based theory. Unconvinced, my parents let it remain an unsolved mystery. And having ID'd the perp as Mother Nature herself, the officer left satisfied. For the rest of senior year, I never tried to break out of the house again. And within a year, the home was sold. But I still remember the view through that window very clearly in my mind. I see my parents, an officer, and myself staring back in. This and 100 other vignettes from all the places I've inhabited will remain with me for as long as I can recall them, grafted to my being, but unknown and invisible to most. A home's legacy, for better or worse, becomes this personal mosaic of sights, sounds, and emotions, untethered from a physical space and held as close as your soul. This, I believe, is a unique gift of a home to the people who walk through its doors, and occasionally its windows too.